Jess, we got questions for you. Hey,
Okay, wait. No, I'm gonna start. I'm starting with the
oh, you're
questions.
starting. Oh, you're starting.
Hello
I s-
everyone.
you-
We're gonna
oh,
be.
okay.
Oh, I didn't even plug in my phone. Okay, this is gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine.
You
We're
have a
with
whole intro. Okay.
Toussaint. You're always in a coffee shop anytime I talk to you. Yeah. Would you say that your coffee shop working um rotation is like you switch it up every day? Like walk me through your coffee shop choices of the week. Like, do you have a schedule? Do you just like let the coffee shop speak to you?
It's the latter. It's the latter. And it kind of. Do you ever go to the gym and you're like, I'm gonna work on this, or you're like, I'm not gonna walk. You go for a walk and you're like, I'm not gonna walk there. I'm gonna walk here. You kind of just go on a
Yeah.
feeling. You kind of have an idea.
Yeah.
So
I definitely have there's one coffee shop near me that is way better people watching and better vibes, but the counter space, like the surface area, isn't great for
yeah,
laptops all the time.
okay.
And then there's another one that's like there's no vibes. It's like quite like this personality-less a little bit, but the air conditioning's really good. So I have to get like really good I have to get like really serious work done. And it's really hot and like I'm there for a long time. I'll go to the soulless coffee shop.
It's like a relationship. You really, what can you get out of this? Like how can we serve one another? What are we good at? What are we not good at? Like what's gonna work here? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. What was I gonna say? You said air conditioning, but it's soulless. Can you write in like good conditions, but it doesn't feel like the energy is there though? You
I
know?
feel like that's like a business coffee shop. Like if I have to do all my like admin crap,
Mm.
then I'll go to I don't need my soul for that. I'm just writing a schedule and I'm like formatting things
Yeah,
or like
yeah, yeah.
edit or if I'm doing like very serious like editing, I don't need my creative brain necessarily.
Mm.
But if I have creativity, then I have to go somewhere that like
You edit
feels
all your
alive.
videos?
Yeah. It's a
Okay,
one woman show over here. Like for
it's
that's not
real.
true. There are people around these days, but
Okay,
yeah, the videos, that's all me.
okay.
But they're just it's spliced willy-nilly. Like I'm just going on like this is like homemade, you know?
Yeah,
Your
that's
work
all you
is
can
very
do.
you've got some professional editing happening over there.
Thank you. Okay, there's kids like saying things right now. Um, that's amazing. You can't hear any of this. This is like it's so been like a cacophony of sound right now. Um, I have an editor work on the interviews that I do in the Good Morning Minneapolis episodes. The ones that you see all the time, those are made with the Captions app.
Okay.
The Captions app is crazy. That
Is
thing's
that sponsored or just they've changed your life?
just someday. We're looking for the sponsorship someday. But no, if I could get sponsored by two things, we're going to return this question back to you. One is the mic that I use, the Hollyland mic, and then two is the app, Captions app. So I think we could get something. I got an email that said, "Hello, Toussaint. You're in the top 0.1 percentile that uses this much. Are there any things that we can do to make this app better?" And I was like, let me just like receive that information first. That I
Mhm.
use this app way too much.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But it's not
Will
like
we?
it's an app of like I don't know, like a leisure I mean, it's not like Instagram being like, "Hi, Jess, you never log off." You know, there are other where I'd be like, "Oh, I need to check in on my life." It's like you're making videos, you're making content for the people, you're informing the world of, you know, what you're thinking. There's
Yeah.
that.
Or try to give them better information. Have you ever gotten hit with the TikTok message that's like, "Hi, you've been on here for quite some time. Maybe you should."
No, I haven't. But
Okay.
in the pandemic, I hit the end of Instagram a couple times. Like, I'm glad that they took that away on Instagram. Like in
You
20
hit the end of Instagram.
yeah, like they used to not now it's endless. They've changed the for like there wasn't really a for you page back then, I think. Like
Okay.
so you would just
Okay.
see your feed of like your friends.
Uh huh.
And I hit that a couple times and like right at the beginning of lockdown where they're like, you've seen it all, you're all caught up. It's time for you to like go touch grass. Go find a bird to look at.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
But they
that's
don't tell us that.
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. That feels a little condescending, kind of like, hey, you stood for like X amount of hours, like great job, like when your watch says that. But um, yeah, yeah, that's I did not know there was an end of an edge of the earth, Jess.
It turns out the Earth is flat, and it is on Instagram. That's what that
It's on
was.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What's your next question? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna launch into like I'm like people are just watching us as if we're just yapping normally. That's what these feel like to me, which is really fun. I invite my friends to come and I'm like, everyone come and watch us just have a normal conversation. But then I'm like, maybe we should talk about something formative slash like give the people something like more than just a Dorito chip of conversation, you know?
Okay. Okay. Go.
So we're
Yeah.
gonna do that.
Let's. Okay.
Well, you are a multi hyphenate. One of the most hyphenated friends I have, I think, of the mediums that you make art in, and in like I was musical theater is in there. Even you do
Hmm.
like jazz, rap, acting, activism, like many like it's quite long, like your hyphenate title, and I'm wondering how. I mean, did that develop naturally that you like do you just have many interests? How did that develop that you kind of dip into lots of different things and like what do you like about the sort of like the mix of all of those different mediums that you participate in?
Well, the mix is unintentional. It was not something I was like, I'm going to do all these things. Blah 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 blah. What happened is when I got out of high school, I started sitting in a coffee shop like the one that we're at right now,
Show the
the one that
people.
we're at right now, and I just began writing for hours at a time. And I didn't like writing in high school. I didn't like writing in middle school. I didn't like writing in any grade. But for some reason, I gravitated to just writing all the time. And it started with writing for songs. Then it started with writing for slam poetry, which we'll get into an Andrea Gibson story a little bit after this.
I love that.
Uh, and then it went into writing plays, and then went into writing film. So the basis, like the nucleus of everything, is like writing. So when you say activism, theater, film, all these things, that's all because I sit down and I end up writing it at some point. And I think if you can hold space or designate space to write and, be confident about it and know that it's gonna work itself out. Because I mean, I'm sure you've written many an article and never knew if you were going to be published or not. Like it's like you kind of have to.
That is correct.
There's a whole expression right there. You just never know if it's gonna happen that way. Um, and so yeah, it really started. But speaking of writing, you said in the post, you said, please don't don't bring me into a rap battle. And I would never do that. But here's one thing I thought of. Would you ever do a poetry slam, Jess Janz? Like, oh, not even competition, just like spoken word. I feel
Yeah.
like you could, yeah.
Well, you know what? So I think Andrea Gibson, speaking of Andrea Gibson, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
rattling rattling the world this week with their passing. But they talked about I think they took a break from slam poetry because it was like trauma is rewarded, like shock value is rewarded in slam
It
poetry.
is. It is. Yeah.
And I would say the way that I write and the content that I write, it's like writing for me is about like making sense of the world and being trying to be present to the world, but like metabolizing it, like giving it a little bit of shape and like finding an anchor a little bit for me, which is like it doesn't hit in the same like literal mic drop sort of thing that usually is like the style that people are looking for or that like performs well. Like it's not the medium necessarily
Hmm.
for the writing that I do, but I could get angry. I could or like not that it needs to be angry, but like I think it's what I'm realizing is like my internal world is really dark and scary. And it's like so then I make my art, my creative practice is like trying to make the world less like spooky
Yeah.
for
Okay.
for myself, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
I get. That's an interesting way that you put that because then the question I think of, and because we're talking about writing, is at what point do you confront that scary spookiness? And do you ever feel like you're dodging authenticity if you're not confronting that? Or do you think you're being authentic by saying, look, I'd rather, not it all be dark and spooky?
Yeah, great question. Like
I don't know.
staring
I'm just curious
what
because I have like a similar experience, but yeah.
yeah, like I don't feel the need. I don't think that art needs to I don't believe in like tidy art or like putting a bow
Mm,
on things. There are times where I sit down and I feel the pressure of like I'm like, okay, I'm an artist. I bring our job is to like put a spotlight on the way out. And I feel
yeah.
that pressure, but then you don't make good art from that. But like all we have to do when in fact, the only thing we should be doing as artists is like just tell the truth. Like just say one thing that's true.
Ooh.
And then so when I'm making it from like, oh, I'm gonna sound smart, I'm gonna like offer the
Mhm.
world something good. Like I'm like, hopefully that ends up happening that I say something maybe
Yeah.
anchoring or something like that. But to be like, let me tell you how we're gonna get out of this mess is like not a useful headspace nor a good platform to like write from.
Well, going over this, just kind of doing my research before going to this conversation with you. I mean, it may not tell people how you're going to get them out of something. You had a post in May that was like, reporting live from the inside of an empty peanut butter jar or something. And you said, irritable, grouchy, grumpy, all these things. And in that statement, there was like no solutions provided, but it was like, oh, there's vulnerability here. Like,
Yeah.
I can feel the same way and that's okay. Like there's no fix provided, but it's like, hey, and that's that.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel with I mean, a lot of your work is like commentary on like culture around you, politics, corruption, specifically injustice, racial
Yeah.
injustice. Um, how do you like I would interpret your work as like you're a witness more than anything else in when you're making that art.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're going, but you do offer. There's a call to action, I think, like there in your work, like you are passionate about that. Can you speak to the balance of that of like between being a witness and like like it's quite educational and informative the work that you create as well. Can you just talk about like that your approach to that and how you see your role in the art that you make?
Yeah. So I live in Minneapolis, and in 2020 we had the uprising where George Floyd was murdered by the MPD. So I think it almost goes back to what we were talking about, the spooky and dark versus trying to speak truth. And like there's a point where in the like pit of the storm at the center of it, there's an enragement where it's unapologetic and it's loud and it's scary and it's it is what it is. And for me, my belief is that it's necessary to speak in a certain tone at a rally or a press conference when an injustice has happened. Can I do that all the time? Absolutely not, Jess. I'm gonna tire out. My voice right now is hoarse. It is Sunday. On Thursday, I was leading chants at the Good Trouble March in downtown Minneapolis and spoke at it. And it was just like a modicum of like what 2020 was like. That was
Yeah.
every single day. And so I think it's witnessed later. And then at the time, it's like I'm in it with you. Like
Hmm.
like we are in the foxhole together. Like this is we're gonna get down with it. Like I'm like if somebody picks a fight with you, they're picking a fight with me. But then later on, it's like, well, how can I speak about Miss Rachel supporting children in Gaza? Well, I can show you her a year ago, a few months later, and then today, and then just give you information. I'm not telling you how to think or anything. Hey, there
Hmm.
might be some satire or opinion to it, but that's as far as it goes. I'm not sitting here trying to indoctrinate the world and be like, we must
You
follow
have
the
a,
path.
you have a
What?
strong eyebrow. You give a strong like a
Oh, which one? Which one?
you're
This one or this one?
I don't know. Well, mine I can only do this one, but
Okay, okay. Oh, yeah. There we go. Yeah.
you know when you're like
Uh,
you do the lean in where you're just like, I don't know, whoever is
See,
up
I
to
don't. I see.
something.
Now I gotta. Yeah. Now I gotta be aware of it.
But
As
the
an actor,
outro
we're
doesn't
supposed to
tell
be.
us what to think. It's like a highlight. Like you're like, pause for effect, you know?
Dog,
Um,
if there's a poetry slam, you know what? Let's just not say poetry slam. If there's a spoken word show in Toronto, I'm sliding through. I'm coming through. Um, but the thing is like because there's all type of gestures going on in spoken words. But all that being said, there's a time to be enraged, and then there's a time to witness. And the time to witness is in the satirical videos you get and all the informational videos. And it's like, look,
mm,
I'm giving you information. Peace be with you. I'm out. That's it.
mm. That's like a great distinction too, because I mean, all of us speak from a lens, but you're not
Hmm.
getting, like hot take videos. Like people are like, there's that style of um content where people are like, and something else that like you don't think like there people are like something you haven't even thought about or whatever.
Well,
And you're just when you just that's again like the role of the artist and journalism hopefully is like you just speak the truth. You're like, this is what happened. Let me like draw some threads here.
yeah, but I also think it's like so. I started out doing a lot of this work in 2003. 2003, I'd written my first play, the longest title of any play you'll ever hear, "Embarrassed and Rarig: The Private and Public Humiliation of Students of Color in and Outside of the Rarig Center." Um, that's
That
what it was. Yeah, oh, it was great. It was great. We just got tired of a lot of old dead white men plays, and we were like, I'm gonna write my own.
yeah.
Um, and so there's this thing that happens in my YouTube videos. Like when I take my watch off, it's like I'm fully immersed in the conversations. Um, but I wrote this play, and then I got a role in this other theater company right away. All these things lined up, and the theater company was called the Jestic Theater Company, and we went around to different colleges throughout the country, put on scenes that were about substance abuse, assaults, racism, misogyny, transphobia. And then after the scene was done, all the actors would stay on stage in character, and a moderator would come out and say to the audience of like 400 freshmen and say, "Well, what did you think?" And everybody would be like, "What do you mean what I thought?" And the moderator would be like, "Well, is there anything you would change up there?" And then, just hand the mic to somebody and be like, "Hey, yeah, Jeff, what did you mean by that when you said that to Tammy, da 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 da?" And then like it would turn into basically Sally Jesse Raphael, if you can remember, a little younger than me, Phil Donahue,
Mhm.
Jerry Springer. But it would turn into an informational means of that. And what would happen is it's called intervention based theater. Coming back to what we're talking about, the spirit of that was, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to give you information and hopefully ask you some questions that prompt a challenge in your own mind of how you go about your day in business. And that's literally it's kind of translated to the same videos that I do that you see on Instagram. So you provide people, or at least the algorithm in social media is you provide people with value, and then you say, "Hey, I have some art.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I have a art. I'm a I'm a poet. I have a
That's
book."
right. Right. I make this other stuff that I care deeply about. Please interact and buy my book.
Yeah.
Um, interesting that we started at you talked about like all of the different mediums that you participate in start with writing. And then I'm sure that based on the way that the writing comes out, you go like, oh, this is a poem, oh, this is a post, this is an article, like that, like it presents itself of like what form it's going to take. Um, I'm
Yeah.
curious because you make art and you do commentary, the what your take is of like the power of art in the world and how the impact that art actually has the ability to shift culture or
Hmm.
change minds in a way that's different than a talking head being like, this is what's corrupt about XYZ. That like art by like telling a story and by just from that, even in that example of that structure of that play of going like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the story of Tammy and who Tammy is and what Tammy's life is like and like why do you think or what have you experienced through those different mediums that you participate in? Like how art actually is impactful, perhaps even more impactful in certain
Oh,
environments.
because there's no telling. There's no like in storytelling, you either tell or you show, or in film, you can tell or you can show. And I think with a lot of this, it's like, let me show you the information. Like I did a video on, there are ICE agents that are quitting. And people in the comments are like, no, they're not. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to argue with you because it's a literal thing that's happening. So it is what it is. But it's like, I'm showing you the thing and giving it to you in a way that's, it just sets people up to possibly, talk about it more, just be equipped with information if they want to. Um, Sorry, I got a message. This is the first time I'm doing one of these. I don't know if the messages go away. So just
It's a lot of
um,
there's a lot of blinking happening. Yeah.
oh, it's all good. Um, but that's the idea is to prompt information for somebody. So it's like just showing people things. Whereas with a slam poem or like a spoken word piece, it's a narrative. It's a 3-act play. Like there's a friend of mine who's an attorney that deals with a lot of I feel like their life is a character from the movie Seven. Like there's a lot of just crazy things going on. And I wrote a poem from the perspective of, a day in their life. You get something at the end of it, but it's also showing you like just how deep the rabbit hole goes when dealing with humanity. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's different. Like, do I start out writing an informational post that may turn into a poem? No, I know exactly what I'm going to write right before I write it. And sometimes, I mean, I'm sure you get this too. Do you get like muses? Like you just like wake up and you're like, I'm going to write that down. Or you're
Yeah.
like driving, you're like, I got to write that down. Yeah,
Yeah. The Notes app is crazy. There's a lot
it's
going on.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did they do in the past? What did Sylvia Plath have to do? Yeah,
She
you know,
probably carried a notebook. Like it's not that deep.
she probably carried a notebook, some drugs. Yeah,
Maybe.
seems out there.
Yeah. Um,
There's this coffee table book of like all the poets that did heroin, and it's like it's so like Edgar Allan Poe, like Sylvia Plath. I mean, just all of them. I'm just like, oh my lord, no! Is this is this what my life is going to like? It's just like everybody like had these muses speaking to them, and I think like doing art back then was just like unconventional and like seen as crazy, and so people were like
people were
doing
up in
drugs
the
to cope.
apothecary. People were like up in the
Yes.
apothecary getting wild on like they're like, do you have more of that poppy? I don't know. I'm seeing dark shadows. Get me the poppy opium, please.
Yeah, my good man, where were those mushrooms that you had?
Oh my god.
Uh, quite silenced the voices in my head.
That's right.
Uh, no, but when the muses speak, the notes app lights up. So yeah, that
That's right.
happens.
Yeah. It is funny there are lines where, like, even if they're bad in the notes app, I, like it ends up like, I'm like, "I know that this isn't the line, but the essence of how I was feeling when I wrote that line down, I can, like,
Yes.
go back." It's such a weird it is like a pin on the wall or, like, a sticky note on the wall that I can, like, put myself back into that, like, I'm, like, on the sidewalk walking home from wherever, and I, like, go back to the, like, headspace I was in if I have the note. I don't know what that
Do you ever
says.
do a voice memo?
No, I don't. But I could get
Okay.
into that. I think
Okay.
those are horrifying. Like there are well, I have some. They're like back when I used to write music, I have
Mhm.
some like bad humming happening on the, like it's real bare
So
bones.
that's a part of okay, that's a part of my Substack. I should say this right now. So I do, yes, I hum badly too. Hi. Um, but there's certain moments where it's like that humming turned into an entire track. So I then screen record the voice memo and then I put it into this slot, like this column on my Substack called Piece, Piece. So it's a piece of the puzzle going forward. Um, and that to me, I think is super duper important to like for people to understand the process if they're trying to like conceptualize what's going on here.
Yeah.
Like it starts with like a glint, like, or maybe not even a glint, maybe like a dull like thud, like in my mind, and then it's like I hum it out poorly over some like really somebody else's more well trained at guitar, and then I'm like, see what happens, see what
Yeah.
happens. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that that's a common conversation with artists. Um, with, we're all our worst critics and we're asking ourselves, is this good? And am I worthy? And do people like me? And am I lovable? Like all of that gets tied in really quickly.
yeah,
But I think that the antidote to all of that identity worthiness bullshit is like just continuing the practice of art, and like
Mhm.
to be like, here's this imperfect thing that I'm putting out into the world anyway, like here's this in process. And when you lead with that, and when you're unafraid to like share that with the world and say like, yeah, here's this, you've heard my like perfectly polished, like here's my EP, or like here's my album or whatever, but like here's a peek into my week and like what I've been working on this week. Like what a
Yeah.
gift, what a great practice for yourself to like, one, not take ourselves too seriously, and to also be like putting stuff out without it needing to be perfect, but then also
Mhm.
permission for other people to like look, when you look under the hood and be like, oh, we all have bad humming voice notes. That makes me feel less alone to like mine, as if our voice note is going to be perfect from the jump,
Ain't no voice note fun to be perfect. Just come on. The other thing, when I don't have the notes app, this is like the inside of my book right here.
Oh,
So
that's
these are all like rhyming words or just prompts. And then this is my grandmother's name right here, Carol May. But the idea is that it starts, one second, and we have this series called Ron. It starts here, like, like in like these first pages. And then there's just like words, like lost both, crossroads, like just simplistic, whatever, all these things. And then it turns into whatever this is, but also you see that green line. So like when I was in high school, I would uh I would indulge in Jelly Roll pens when we would write notes back and forth
that's
to one another. This was before
the
texting on cell
before
phones,
times.
land before time. But I would write a lot in Jelly Roll pens. But the significance is like when I'm writing, if I write on a page and it's all just pen, it just gets so just dull and boring. And I have to like, I don't know what I'm reading or I'm flipping to. So I designate it by like, you know, spicing up a title with like a Jelly Roll pen or something like that. So yeah, that's like when something comes to you, sometimes you just got to write it down in a book or in a notes app and, let it rip. But it's
Yeah,
good for people to see the guts of something. So
100%. What is the well, yeah, I feel like I'm in a growing pains like transition period right now, and a lot of like unknown and sort of like a couple different roads in front of me of how to strategize through this next season of my life. But
well, when's the book coming out? What's done with
coming
that?
out it's coming out in March 2026. So I'm in the like
Oh,
weird, nothing but like I'm like waiting to see my book cover design is next. We're doing that.
okay.
Um, HarperCollins Canada bought the Canadian distribution rights to my book, which is very
Well,
exciting. But
congratulations.
they're legal to, what's really ironic is like the Canadian publisher. I don't know. Well, I'm talking about it now. Whatever. The legal team at HarperCollins Canada is like really intense about. I had to make a chart of everyone that I talk about in the book of like if it's their real
Oh,
name, are they identifiable? Did they give me permission? They're just like, are we going to get sued? Which is funny to me because obviously, as a dual citizen, I'm hyper aware of the, sort of archetypes of, or like, like people are like, oh, everyone in the States loves to sue people. So it's been kind of funny that the HarperCollins is like, are you?
what are you saying?
Not that I'm defaming anyone, but anyway. But you're in the book.
Everybody in the States loves a soup.
They do. That's like we Canadians sit up here with our like maple scones and we're like, oh, you Americans always suing each other, you know?
So there's no suing in Canada?
Like people sue, but there's not the like, how the like the McDonald's cup with the hot water thing. I feel like that doesn't. I mean, it happens, but like
Yeah.
we're just more
You're
reasonable up here.
more reasonable. Canadian gets scalded by a hot cup of coffee at McDonald's. Uh,
You
they'll
just
do
don't
better
have to
next
put that
time.
in your lap. When I
Oh,
do
okay.
something when I something like that, like this morning I was like haphazardly making yogurt and granola, and I like flung yogurt onto the strawberry canister because I was going too fast, and that's on me.
Mhm.
I was like, "You're right, Jess. Like you should slow down." That's not the
Okay.
yogurt's fault or the spoon's fault. That's a Jess. That was all. I just like I'm taking personal responsibility for my yogurt.
Somewhere in a multiverse timeline, there is an after school special of you just making mistakes and just like things falling, crashing, hitting the ground. And then there's like a parallel version of you that's like, hey, Jess, don't beat yourself up about it. Happens all the time. Here, let me help you clean up.
I have thought
And it's
about
about people's inner critic.
Oh my god, that would be a good
Oh,
show. Although speaking of spooky, people would be like, "Wow, that's really intense." The like narrative that I have to talk myself down on an hourly basis, sometimes minute by minute. But I
yeah.
have thought about like a YouTube show called Jess Tries Things. Like, but it's not even like Jess Tries Her Best. Where
Okay.
sometimes, when you get like too many bananas, like they're all ripe at the same time. And I'm like, I guess I'm making banana bread, but I don't bake. So I'm not teaching you how to make banana bread. It's just like, come witness me get through this. Like, so we'll see
I
what
think,
happens.
yeah, I think there's a Nickelodeon show called Happy Mistakes by Jess Janz.
Oh, God.
That's all it is. Or it's lemons with Jess Janz. And then you're just
Lemon.
making lemonade. You're just making lemonade all day. That's all you're doing.
I do love a lemonade. They
That's
are
all really
good.
writing is. You're making the best of what you got. Um, Speaking of this, I got a question for you. You walk around and post to your IG story a lot of these cats in windows. My question to you is, how did this start? And then two, do you think that the cats recognize you when you're walking by? Because you seem to have some like repeat, you
There
know?
are. No, I'm
Yeah.
dialed in. Like, I know what I have windows to watch. I'm blushing. Yeah. Okay. Here's how this started. Well, one, I think, well, when when I lived in San Francisco, I would walk to work, and that was such a hard season of my life. I was like working corporate for the first time. I was someone's assistant.
Mm, yeah.
It was like,
That
what
sucks.
happened to my life? Who am I? Like, this is horrible. So my walk to work, I loved the like stoops. Like everyone had, like, obviously the architecture in San Francisco is so beautiful. People had like great succulents and like flowers year round and all that kind of stuff. So I had this
Yeah.
practice of walking to work and like looking for it's a practice of noticing, I think. And
Mm,
then in the pandemic, I lived in this house that was right across from the house I was living in. There was a Scotty, like a white little dog. And anytime I was looking out the window, kind of wistfully taking a deep breath and feeling a
it would
little
be like,
dark about the world, the dog would have his chin. He was always sleeping in the window, and he always looked like he was deeply over it. And so then I had this like, I found it so amusing. And then on my walk to the gym, I'm just, I'm taking in the world as one does. And there's lots of cats in my neighborhood, and even people with like ledges with suction cups. And one house has a bird feeder or like a bird house, but it's attached to the window. So I can only assume that like the side that faces into the house is like clear so you can see if there's a bird in it. But they
oh,
have a
okay.
cat. And so I feel like that is problematic because the bird thinks that it's going into like a cozy, warm sanctuary. And then on the other side, there's gonna be a giant cat that's like scratching at the window.
Looking at it. Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's terrifying.
I feel like that's not good for the bird. I don't
You
feel that.
just, you just told several stories. Like this is Five Will Goes West, like four. This is that like so we can because I walk around and see cats sometimes too in the neighborhood, but I don't really have a story ascribed to it. That's why I asked because your IG stories seem to prompt like, oh, here's Mr. Figsworth, like looking out his window again,
Yeah.
concerned about there seemed to be like a short story like happening chapters, but that's why I asked.
I wonder
Um,
I wonder if they do well, and then this happened last week. I posted this orange cat who was darling in my neighborhood. And then someone wrote me and they're like, oh my God, that's my best friend's house and my best friend's cat. And it was like, it brings it to, I'm always like, can people see me videoing their house and do it? They think I'm crazy. Like, and then I'm like, is this weird that I do this? And she, anyway, and then the cat owner wrote me and she was like, no, it was so fun that all my friends were messaging me that they saw whatever, Mr. Biddlesworth, whatever, like on your story. I was still a little like embarrassed by that, but I think that it's good. But I actually, there's this black and white cat who looks like he smokes cigarette. He looks like he wishes he was smoking a cigarette. Like
This is
like
hilarious.
so over the world. And I only see him if I go to the earlier, like the 7 a.m. class, which is neither here nor there. Anyway, like I know his schedule. Like if I go to the 9 o'clock class, he's over his window time. I don't see him, but I see him to go earlier, which is ridiculous that I know that. Anyway, I realized because of the way their house is shaped that the woman who lives in that house is often on the porch, but I won't see her on the way there. And on my way back, I started seeing the woman who owns the cat. And I was like, oh, I'm noticing the world. Like I'm noticing the cat. I'm dialed into the cats in my neighborhood, but I'm not interacting with the people. Like, and I was like, oh, I'm observing her and she's looking at her garden and I'm making a whole story about her life, but I'm not asking her about it. And so this week I was like, okay, the next time I see her, I'm going to say hi. And so I started I saw her last week. I said, hi, her name's Tina. And we started chatting. She made me move a suitcase, which was so heavy. Like, I feel like there was a generator or something in it. She's like, can you be a dear and like move that to the sidewalk? Like she was like giving it, that happens in my neighborhood. I don't know if that happens in Minneapolis, but she was like giving it away or like getting rid of it or whatever. So she asked me to move that. Now I've seen her 3 times. There's always something to move to the curb. So she knows I'm coming. So she's looking for me now. But
she's like, hey, I got an errand. Can you help me?
I've got an errand for you. Yeah. And my newsletter yesterday was about this, where like my cousin was in town this week and we went to the CN Tower with his kids. And my cousin Charlie talked to everybody. Like he talked to the like elevator coordinator person and like was chit-chatting and had a little bit with like everyone. And he's like, don't you want to know about everybody? Like everyone's amazing. And I'm like, oh, I just want to watch everyone. I don't know if I want to like I'm working. That's something I'm curious about, at least in my life.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, that's an interesting thing because it's like Motorcycle Zen. I forget the name of the book. It's like 2 men that get motorcycle across the country every year. And one guy takes his motorcycle apart and puts it back together because he wants to know how every piece works. The other guy takes it to the shop and says, I don't want to know anything wrong with this. I don't want to know how to put it back together. Just make sure that it can run across the country. They both enjoy the ride, but they both have totally different philosophies about how they go about the vehicle that they're on. And so maybe your cousin is like, hey, like, I want to say hi to everybody. I just want to interact with everybody. Whereas some people are just like, no, I'm just good watching. This is good. I'll just witness. Yeah.
I feel like
no need for me to say anything.
I don't want to know about motorcycles. Like there's no room in my brain for that, but I want to know. I don't know. Yeah. It's an ironic thing I get because of Dinner with Strangers and stuff. But like, I'm like I like keep to myself in the real world sometimes, but sometimes I get in the mood to like interact with strangers. It's like so
yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, there's it depends on like, it's interesting because New Orleans, there's this proclivity to say hi, interact all the time. I was born in New Orleans. And then here there is conversation for another time. There is, because I'm out in public right now. There is
What do you hate most about Minneapolis? Say it right now. No, just kidding. Specifically people who work in coffee shops.
The thing that I dislike the most. So here's I'll give this to you. When I write, like it's subjective and it's intentional and it's unapologetic, and I just couldn't give a fuck less. Like I have to have a space where I can be entirely authentically enmeshed with my own voice. Like I'm calling it what it is. When you read some other things, like informational books, it's subjective. It's like, oh, This is where Argentina is. This is where the country line is. The thing that it's not dislike, it's the thing that I don't involve myself in or partake in the culture around here is the dismissiveness. So if I were to say, um, just Toronto Blue Jays, they lost yesterday. You could give me an objective answer and say, yes, they lost 3-2. Or you could say something subjective. You could be like, "Hey, we blew all this money on this one guy, and now here we are with this. We don't got a damn pitcher to save our lives because da, 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 da." But if you were to be dismissive, if you were to engage in kind of like culture around here, you would say, "What's baseball? What do you mean?" Now the onus would be put on me because I look crazy now because I'm like, no, no, baseball. They throw the ball. So but I have to then explain
Great
it to you.
explanation.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. Anytime. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But the issue is that when you engage in that socially and culturally, you are then having to constantly show up for yourself or show proof of life or like
Mm.
some proof of humanity to the point that um something may pop off like an entire uprising because people have been like repressing and squandering this idea of who's human for so long in a dismissive way
Mm-hmm.
that there's no perceivable place in like this part of the country where it's designated as dangerous. You can go to other places to be like, don't go over there, that's dangerous over there, but here you're good. It's like, oh, okay, cool, thank you, appreciate that.
Right.
Whereas you're walking into Luigi's Haunted Mansion, but it looks like a pristine coffee shop with nice AC. But it's dangerous. You don't know. There's nothing designated inside. So
Mhm.
that's the thing I don't really involve myself in. I don't. I'm trying to move away a little bit from meritocratic language, like bad, good. This, that, and the third.
Right.
But it's like I just don't involve myself with that type of stuff because it's like there's no. I g- I g- I end up not being the best version of myself with that. I want to be authentic and show up for my friends and tell them the truth even if it hurts or them tell
Mhm.
me the truth even if it hurts. I don't want any of this. Oh, it was great. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah. I
Right.
like.
Well, I think what you're touching on a little bit is like the fallacy of individualism, or that there's not interconnectedness or intersectionality between anything. Like, and I think
Mhm.
that um different neighborhoods, demographics, like there's lots of different ways that people have perceived safety or perceived like, oh, that has nothing to do with me. You can have that
Mhm.
attitude. So if we're speaking about in the neighborhood, going, we can write things off of as like, this isn't on my proverbial lawn or my literal lawn, and seeing, um, first of all, I think we're in this uprising right now in culture where that is really coming to light of we're all seeing that like none of us are spared, none of us are safe, but that we all belong to each other too. And that like
Mhm.
it is our it's our responsibility to take care of each other, of what we see around us and where we can interact. And that does include saying hi to a neighbor and does include, like there's all this macro stuff happening. Like, why not start smaller of saying hi to Tina and seeing what I can help her out with? Like, what a way to
Mhm.
feel like to like counteract helplessness, I think. Um, and yeah, that people go like for us to say with anything, oh, that doesn't concern me. It's like, well, we're passengers together here, so actually it does. Like, even if it doesn't
Yeah,
affect you directly.
yeah, it
Um,
really does. Yeah. Okay,
um,
so just what do you dislike about Toronto most?
uh,
You can't be popping off these shots and not get them back. Come on. What do you just
um,
loathe about Toronto? What do you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh,
well, the humidity. As a West
really?
Coast, as
Okay,
a
okay,
mild West Coast girl, the humidity really
okay.
hurts my soul. But no, I think that this. I don't know if this happens in every city, but similar to what you're saying of like a dismissiveness of care, or like there's
Uh,
like apathy, or it's like people love to hate Toronto, like they're, I don't know, there's like Toronto stands, but that, I mean, that happened when I lived in San Francisco too. Like people, because people were expats, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm from Austin, Texas, which is way better than San Francisco." Everyone like loved to like
Oh,
say that
see
San
that all the
Francisco was
time.
ruined. Um, yeah, but I think that there's an attitude here sometimes where people are like, "Well, is it cool?" Like everyone wants to be like really cool in Toronto. I'm like, good luck with that, you guys. So anyway, that can be a little, but it does feel sectioned off of like there is it. Even yesterday I was talking with friends, um, where they had friends where, like, we don't talk assuming that, like, not everyone lives the same way that I do. Like, they were talking about, like, friends who are quite affluent who just talk as if, like,
Mhm.
you too own a penthouse in New York and your family has, like, a vacation home that you vacation at in Spain. And it's like, not everyone
What
actually has
reality
that,
is
but they're
this?
they're so in their bubble that they're like, everyone has the same things that we have, you know? I'm like, cool,
Yeah.
I have a roommate. Like, I'm like, I don't know, you know? I'm selling digital prints on the internet of poems. Please buy my digital prints, you guys. So
No, don't
anyway,
even get me started. Oh my goodness. See, okay, I'm gonna tell you the Andrew Gibson story in a little bit, but the thing that like coming from that world where you started out in a band, or you didn't start out in a band, you were in a band, but it's like that mentality of we're showing up to a town and we're going to show what we have to offer. It's some of the most, it's terrifying to some people. And for some people, and this is for me on my end, it looks cool while on stage. And then, you get into a relationship and then it's like, all right, cool. Where's it's like this all the time. No, it's not. No, it's this.
it's mostly
It's this,
this,
sitting with this for there you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sitting with this for an hour. This thing is
right?
so worn out. It's so worn out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't even, yeah, that's the reality. And people don't like put all of that together. And then when they're like, ah, yes, the palazzo that my uncle owns in Spain, it's like, but wait, what? That's not real. It's real to you. That's cool, but it's not to everybody else. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, the dismissiveness, or the what would you say, the fallacy of individualization. Okay, okay, got it. Yeah, that's a whole last thing. It's real. Um, okay, so the year was 2003. I had
Hard
just gotten
pivot.
on to,
Hard pivot to Andrea Gibson's story.
if
That
you
was-
want to if you want to keep going on
no, no, no,
dismissiveness
no. I
and
love
the
it. I
hard
just
times
love
of
that
being
you
in a
just
band,
like
we can do it.
you're like, I'm ready. I pivoted with you. I'm just saying I'm there. I'm ready.
But Jess, you got to understand, this is kind of, I mean, like the kind of how I was talking at dinner with strangers a little bit, but I didn't want to let on to it too much. It was almost a year ago now when I was there in August,
Yeah.
because there's so many people. I don't know them, they don't know me. I don't. If I'm one on one, I can do the tangent thing that I do. This is the way my brain works. But then I have to realize and be like, oh, I probably shut up because that doesn't make it. It just didn't connect those two things. And let me.
I literally, I like was out with, extended friends the other day, and I told a whole journey of a story, and then I finished the punchline of it, and then someone was like, started at the beginning, like the first thing that I said, they're like, okay, so you were with friends, and I was like, oh shit, I just told this whole 10-minute saga, and they were like, not with me at all. So anyway, the
Yeah,
tangential. I don't
it'd
know if
be like
anyone else
that.
has been following us, but I'm like, I know exactly where you're at.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
it's
No. It's all
2003.
good.
It's 2003.
The year's 2003. Okay, so in 1999, I saw Bao Fee perform slam poetry at Kieran's Irish Pub in downtown Minneapolis. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen, and I was like, I want to write like this. And I was writing in a rap group at the time. So 4 years later, write poetry. It is terrifying to get on a stage, read your poetry, and then have somebody just like lift up a card with like a number on it and be like, "You got 2.5 out of 10."
Which is so ironic for poetry. Like, how can
But
how can you put a number on it? Anyway,
but Jess, like, like the martial arts tournament in the 80s movies were only cool because they were illegal. Like they were competitions. Like when like poetry, like I want to come hear people speak poetry, but when it's a competition in a cool bar somewhere off, like the out of the way, now people are showing up. So it's the idea of how can you make poetry a thing that people want to see. yeah, you make it a competition, which is conversation for another time. But so I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. So I compete. I think I have 3 poems, maybe 2.5 memorized. You got to have three. There's 3 rounds. And I was leaving after the second round. I was like, oh, clearly I didn't get onto the team. Shane Hawley, Phaedra Sheridan, some amazing poets. Even Dessa, the artist Dessa was competing like in the final rounds. And they were like, oh, no, 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 you made the final round. And I was like, oh, really? Oh, okay. So I compete.
Pull out that half poem.
Yeah, I did something. I don't know what happened. Yeah, that half poem turned out to be a full poem. But so I got on the team. And what happens with the team is you spend like 2-3 months of like building up money, doing fundraisers so you can go to wherever the National Poetry Slam is. You go to National Poetry Slam, you stay in a hotel with an S ton of poets. Like everybody there is like on a drop of a dime could just give you their 3-minute piece right there, like 5 of them. And so we're all in Chicago. I'm 21 at the time. Didn't didn't really drink, like at all. And then, I'm out with these poets. They're all like, there was this game in the hotel where if like you tried to like, everybody would huddle up in a hallway. And then like, if you tried to walk through and they tapped your foot, you had to do a poem. And then you had to tap the other person and then they do a poem. And like, it was crazy. Anyways, so we perform at this one place called the Subterranean. I think it was cross street from the Subterranean. Beautiful place. And we, I think we lost pretty bad. Like we did well the first round, and then the second time I think we did pretty good. We just didn't get the finals. So we stick around because our good friends from the Bay Area, Oakland, are up. I can't remember the brother's name, but I have his book still to this day. And he has a poem in there called I'm Back. And it's just, oh my God, it's so good. But it was this poetry group called the Suicide Kings. And they would just do some of the most wild, like edgy, authentic poetry. And I was like, oh, maybe we're gonna stay around for the homies, stick around for the Oakland. And so we're there, and all of a sudden, enter Team Denver.
Oh shit.
4 white folks. Some of them got dreads. Very unassuming. I'm like, oh, people are very peaceful. And a poet gets on stage and delivers a poem about children in South America, and like kind of like running like a USAID or like a AmeriCorps, whatever deal.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the poem, and as you were saying in the beginning, like trauma kind of wins out. That's not even a controversial thing to say. It's like it is. Who can tell like the deepest story, but also like there's a lot of mechanisms at play to slam poetry. I'll say, but this person delivers a poem about kids in South America. Team Denver decimates. I'm talking, they wiped the floor with everybody. It wasn't even close. And now I'm 21-year-old Toussaint, and I look at Denver. I had been watching Aqua Teen Hunger Force at the time. Aqua Teen Hunger Force had like a whole some bad guys called the Moonanites, and they would say they were really, really angry with planet Earth, and they tried to blow up Colorado or something, and I think they did. And one of the Moonanites, his line was,
"It's just a comic. What is you've taken me somewhere like I don't."
We're gonna come back, Jess. We're coming back, just like your story. We're coming back.
I'm just
and
like,
one of the Moonanites.
You're talking about a fiction thing. This is like a show that you watched.
Yeah. It's a cartoon on Cartoon Network, and one of the Moonanites says, after they blow up Colorado or something bad happens, he says, "How will you make your omelets now, Denver? How will you make your omelets now?" Team Denver swept the whole thing, and then they lost in finals. And I then said that line, "How will you make your omelets now, Denver?" Andrea Gibson passes away. The great late writing amazing word conjurer Andrea Gibson.
Yeah.
Shane Hawley texts me and he says, "Do you remember when we saw Denver compete in the National Poetry Slam?" I said, "Yeah." "Did you know that Andrea Gibson was on that team?" And I said, "Oh my God."
Whoa.
They were all heavy hitters. And Shane was like, "They were the one that did the poem about kids in South America." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." And it was so cool to know that I had, without even knowing it, I had seen Andrea Gibson perform their poetry like in that capacity, in such a the basement of of a venue in Chicago, and this like just absolutely just shake the walls. Like me, I wasn't even appreciative of it at the time because I was 21 and I was like thinking of Moon Nights on Cartoon Network. But it was so crazy to think 22 years ago I saw Andrew Gibson perform in Chicago at the National Poetry Slam. So that's my story. Yeah.
Claim to fame. I think too, I've just been thinking about the way, I mean, it's, that you're following online, like the same people who care about the same things as you, because my feed has just been flooded with their work this whole week,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
people celebrating and talking about the way that their art has affected them. And it's been such a beautiful example of the way I'm just like, wow, look at the web that their art has cast out to the world. And
Yeah.
and like the way that we
Yeah.
connect to poems, where we're like, oh my gosh, that speaks. Like I think about their poem about You Better Be Lightning,
Yeah.
where they talk about, is it their girlfriend's dad wasn't like worked in oil or something. There was something environmental. The poem, the setup is like
Yeah.
that they wanted to speak out against this environmental
Mhm.
thing, but then they were meeting their girlfriend's dad who worked in that field. And so
Yeah.
they didn't do the political dance. And it's saying like there's no moral to this story. It's just about how love lights up the whole sky. I think is like,
Wow.
but yeah, just thinking like that like poems like fuse to our spine in that way. And to think, as we were saying, of people being like, oh great, I have a house in Spain. I'm like, I wrote a poem that's the truest thing I've ever said. Or like I wrote something today that was like the most vulnerable, like I admitted to the malaise, or like how lost I feel. And like
Mhm.
maybe, you know, if I'm writing from the truest place, then like I needed it. But then if I share it and someone connects to it, it makes them feel less alone, then that's a beautiful
Mhm.
thing to offer the world. And like that Andrea lived their whole life offering it, despite, as we started out saying, like, is anyone listening? Is anyone reading anything? Like
Mhm.
writing despite knowing how it will ripple out, and that performance has stayed with you for that long, not
Yeah.
even knowing who they were at the time.
But while I was watching Andrew Gibson on the news pass, I was like, did this person do slam poetry? Because I really feel like a lot of these cats started out doing that. Like Sierra DeMulder, Shane Hawley, a lot of folks like in Minneapolis, like that's where they started.
Yeah.
So yeah.
To wrap up here, well, we
Yeah,
talked.
this is our hour. It's our
I
hour.
know we just there. What? um, we talked. Well, you shared at Dinner with Strangers when you were there last year in Brooklyn about feeling the most dialed in during crisis, or in those intense moments in
Mhm.
life, like when there's when there's been, you're like the call to action, or the call to art, like who you are in that moment, and know
Mhm.
how to contribute, and know your role in that time. And I'm wondering, a year later, what your relationship is to like the downtime, and like the spaces that are giving you joy, or the things that
Uh,
you're doing that are like for fun. I'm like, what is fun? I don't know. People are always like, do you know how to have fun? I'm like, well, I don't think so. But in those moments that are not crisis moments, like how is your relationship going to not crisis?
uh, it's it's actually growing and becoming a thing. Like there's a certain time in the day where I have to shut down me actively working. But as we said earlier, if there's like a muse or something like speaks to you, I'll write it down. I'll be like, oh, 1 second, I'm gonna record this thing, like, you know, record it on voice memos.
Right.
Uh but that's the extent of it. I think there's a certain point where the news cycle, or even like just being black in America, like the idea is that you're on WB Du Bois talked about double consciousness. Like we're always aware that we're a human, we're aware that we're a black human. And so for me, neither of those shuts off, but it's how do you cope with that in the middle? And then part of that is just giving myself the utmost grace and continuing to practice it, which means going for a walk, drinking water, stretching, and then being like, oh, when I hear that voice, oh, it'd be cool if you got this done today, saying, but I don't need to get that done today. And I can get that done tomorrow or another day. It's not
Mhm.
everything that's important is not urgent. Everything that's urgent is not important. So it's like I can sit with this. So for me, a lot of that space in between has been spent looking at the bigger picture. And I'm sure a lot of writers do this. It's like as you go on in time, it's like how many more albums do I have in the next 5 years? What films will I make in the next 4 years? What how many poems do I have coming up in this next book that
Mhm.
I want to put in? And then that's the way that I look at it, as opposed to, gotta get this done right now. I gotta get this done by tomorrow. And it's like, no, no, no. This stuff will work itself out. Um, and I like kind of like to put it very shortly, I go back to the Wayne Dyer um quote where he says, you're trying to get things done, but you've already been done. You've been done. And it's like this idea of like the Tao, the way of the Tao, which is like it it's already happened.
Yeah.
You can set it down. It's all good. Like, and I
Mhm.
think of that all the time, and I'm like, oh, I don't need to do shit. I can it whatever is going to happen. This poem will work itself through me at some point. I don't need to sit here and force it or frustrate it out. So yeah, but yeah, the time has been nice in between things, and it's also like you come out of an uprising, like the core of it from 2020 to 2022. Um, yeah, you have some knee jerk, PTSD like type of stuff that's going on, and
Mhm.
it's tough to shake out of that. But yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
been going great.
It's great. I David Gate just came out with his book and he sent like I got a little package from him or whatever, and he has a bumper sticker that says joy is a rebellion. And I've been thinking about that because I think so often I'm like, how can we just sit here and be like sit in a park when like the world is falling apart or whatever? But it's like
Yeah,
those moments of connection and like sitting with like insisting on the good with each other and like creating good together with our community, I think is so important, especially in times like this. Sounds so stupid to say, but in the apocalypse of the world falling apart, it's like let's go sit under a tree, you guys. Like it's actually vital
yeah.
that we do.
Well, the good news for you is nobody's getting sued over there. Okay, you're gonna be just fine.
I don't
You're
know.
gonna be
I might
okay.
get sued. Everyone's really worried about this hot take book that I'm writing. Just taking everyone down with me,
Oh,
apparently.
are you? Is this book a hit piece? Yes.
There is a space where I think objectively talk about Trump
Oh,
uh
okay.
being a rapist, and they were like, I don't know if we can use. They're like, as much as it pains us, maybe we need to like. And I'm like, but it's fact. Like, I don't know, but I'm like, I don't need to die on that. Well, I don't know. I've been sitting with it. I haven't like. There. I can like creatively dance around that, perhaps, if that makes the legal team happy.
Well, Jess, as each day goes by, that whatever you wrote is becoming more and more obvious. So I mean,
This is
just
the other thing. It would be very cool. I'm like, what if my book gets banned? It would be really fun to be banned.
mm, mhm.
What an honor. What an honor to have my book banned in many states.
Yeah, I forget it was Toni Morrison. God, it was somebody that said their book was banned in a prison, and they were so happy about that because they were like, "What an honor to know that my words would shake people to revolution." I love that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, well, and that, did you read The Message, like Ta-Nehisi Coates' latest book?
I have it. I haven't started it though. No.
It's a beautiful, I read it so quickly. It's a
Oh,
great
okay.
read. But he went to, I think it was in South Carolina. His book got banned
Okay.
in a school district, and he like went to the committee hearing. So he was like hearing these like teachers and parents like for and against his book, and I'm like, that's just like such an incredible experience to have people
It's a
sit there
great
and be like,
moment.
"This is dangerous," and you're like, "You guys, I'm right here. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
imagine you're banning my look at me. You're banning my
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
How silly." But
No,
that
I
means that
love that.
you're telling the truth. I think my friend Jason, when I started writing the book, and was really struggling to find the voice that I was writing from. He was like, just make it so Jess that some people hate it. And it was like the freedom that it unlocked a thing of like, I was like, how do I make every sentence more me? Because at the end of the day, if someone doesn't like it or disagrees, otherwise, like people are going to have different opinions about all sorts of things. If they're like, why does this intentional run-on sentence go on for 2.5 pages? And I'm like, I did that, and I'm kind of I'm at peace with that. But if I'm like, okay, that's wrong, but there's some people who love that, and so if that run-on sentence isn't for you, then that means that it's not the book for you, and that's okay. So
Yeah, I think people would be fine with it, and I March 2026. It's
March
big.
26th. Maybe we'll do
Yeah, we
a
got almost like a.
Minneapolis stop on the book tour and do.
You should. You should.
We'll do that. Let's do that. We'll do a dinner. I will commit to learning one poem by memory and perform it
Do
somewhere.
it. Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
would be
Minnesota houses Shattuck, and we train a lot of your hockey players. So the least you could do is come down and do a poem. So yeah.
When you were talking about baseball, the last baseball game I went to, my friend got very good tickets through work. Like we were sitting right behind the plate, and you get free food. And I was like, I don't want to be eating. Like they're gonna make a montage of me, like, because it was just
Why
they're like,
not?
do you want a smash burger? I'm like, yes, I do. They're like bringing us nachos and stuff. Anyway, so the game starts. We're in these like crazy seats, like VIP of the VIP.
Yeah.
And it starts, and my friend Catherine leans over. She goes, "Pop quiz. Who are the Jays playing against?" And I was like, "Crap!" I was like, look, I like didn't even know who they were playing against, and that's on just being there.
You're just there enjoying the game in the stadium.
It was I had so much fun. It was a great day.
Yeah.
I'm so full, like dangerful after that, but that's okay.
Well, that's great. Sometimes it's fun to get lost in a neighborhood you've never been in, or just show up to a game and not even know who's playing. Yeah.
What I was there to learn and take in the like essence of baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And you can take in the essence of the Minnesota Twins when you stop by in March or April on your book tour.
Yeah.
Maybe you can find a bookstore here. We don't even know. Half price books. There's a Barnes and Nobles in Edina.
Finding bookstores in new cities is one of my favorite things.
Moon Palace. Moon Palace. Look up Moon Palace when you're in town.
Okay. Where can the people find your work? What are you working on? What do you want to? What would you like to pitch? If there's anything that you'd like to pitch?
Oh yeah.
Etc. Or places to find your work that you're working on right now.
Okay, so this is one thing. Probably people that are watching this right now, they're all going to see it. August 13th, there's a film that comes out, a short film. It's a horror film, and it's one of the big three. One of the big three horror monsters in film. So you'll see me in that. That's not really a plug. That's just like I'm just bracing you all for it. It's gonna be big.
What's it called? Are you allowed to?
Can't even tell you. Can't even tell you.
Be ready on August 13th.
Yeah, we're in a cabin in the woods and it goes sideways.
Oh boy.
But then the other thing I'll say is, so the call to action would be this Substack that I have right now I've kind of rolled it out a little bit. I've built it out a little bit. This is all what you see on YouTube, what you hear on Spotify. That is the end version of what I usually make. The guts of everything. Me opening my book and reading it. Me memorizing something in the car. Me writing a short story. Me the behind the scenes of how we made a music video. That's all on this Substack. So
that's awesome.
There you go. So that's the plug. It's the guts of the writing. So
watch the guts. That's good. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, this is super fun. Thanks for hanging with me on Substack. I didn't even drink any coffee. My coffee was done. I was plugging this as like, come have coffee with us, but my coffee.
And you already ate your coffee. I had my coffee and my donut, but that was that.
Love
so
it. Well,
thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Enjoy your 2 weeks of summer before it starts snowing.
Yeah.
And we'll see you around. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.